today's update news is a bit of an interesting one, and we're going to cover exactly why. We've got some things that you should just avoid entirely within the game, at least in my opinion, and we also have some things that you should really be getting hands-on with and stuck in with within World of Tanks this week. Now, first things first, obviously we have the new Cold War tank, the FV4201 T95E1, which we will showcase in-game later on in the video, but essentially this is of course a new Cold War vehicle that you'll be able to purchase. However, to be honest with you, it's very, very expensive and I wouldn't really recommend it, but we'll get into the details of that later on. Now, with regards to the extra content that you want to be actually getting your hands on, it is of course the earning the Smoothman, the mercenary contract, the new free tank that you can get within World of Tanks. It is unfortunately a tier 5, so not particularly the best in the game in terms of the statistics of the vehicle, but to be honest with you, this tank is actually pretty okay. It's not going to break the bank. It's not going to be able to win you, 90% of your games, but this thing is definitely no slouch when it comes to tier 5. You're probably going to be seeing it in the range of, like a Matilda essentially at tier 5 instead. So it's kind of how it plays. Hopefully you can enjoy it, and if you do want to complete it, let's go through what you have to do. It's not particularly very difficult, so if you've already completed the chisel operation and you're just trying to maximise the amount of mercenary tanks that you can actually get, then this is going to be one that you want to complete. You do only have 4 weeks to be able to complete it, so it's not the biggest time, so definitely get grinding and complete your chisel or tusk contracts that are currently going on. Obviously, this one is done in multiple stages. We have a total of 8 stages. You're probably looking in the region of about 250,000 XP that you have to get for a tier 5 tank. It's going to take a little getting used to, at least grinding through the games in the vehicle, different vehicles that you have to play in. Essentially, if you want to get this, you have to play medium tanks, and that's available between tiers 5 and 10 if you want to complete all stages. Some of them are tier 3 to 10, but that's really where you're going to want to be doing it. Of course, in terms of maximizing how much you're actually going to do, playing tier 10 is probably the way to go because you'll get the assistance damage and all of the extras done pretty well. The 14,000 damage. If you're playing a tier 10, it's going to be easier to do damage, therefore you get your challenge done as quickly as possible. And if you want to check out how to complete mercenary tanks really quick, I will leave a video link at the end of this that you can have a look at how to complete mercenary contracts the fastest and what you need to be thinking of. Of course, if you do want to actually purchase it or pick it up, you can purchase it with actual money, but it will cost you an absolute fortune, which I would never ever recommend. This is not the cumulative value, this is how much you have to actually pay per stage. So essentially, yeah, I don't think it's ever worth it, you actually spending the gold to be able to complete these challenges, even if you do have loads of gold on your account. Now, moving on, we have some challenges and events. Of course, we have the Paladin challenge, where if you have already got the Paladin or you haven't, you'll be able to earn it. If you have already got it, you'll get the silver equivalent, so that's always nice. And I think that'll be in the region of about 3 million silver on top of all of the other operations that are going on. But for those of you who haven't already got this tier 8 premium heavy tank, then this is one that you can complete really quickly. It's going to basically take you probably in the region of about 25 games, maybe a little bit more, 35 maximum really for the average player within World of Tanks, because you have to win a battle for the first one, then you have to deal and assist at least 1,000 damage in a battle 10 times, so that's 10 games there, and then you've got deal 25,000 or more damage in any number of battles. So essentially, if you want to maximize it, yet again, play tier 10 or alternatively play Cold War mode in the highest era that you have, because you can deal damage a lot quicker and complete these challenges a lot quicker. So that's my recommendation for this one. And let's move on to the other aspects of the game where you can earn an utter fortune this weekend. And yes, it is the Silver Rain Challenge for the weekend starting on January 14th until January 18th. So yeah, we've got 4 days of basic 50% extra silver. So if you are wanting to grind out some silver, jump on the Cold War mode. That's the mode where you can earn an absolute butt ton of silver, and then essentially you'll get a plus 50% add on all of your silver bonuses. If you've got any saved up, use them this weekend and you'll be able to earn probably in the region of like 400,000 silver if you're playing in something like a Mobat or any of the other premium Cold War vehicles. And even if you're not playing in a premium Cold War vehicle, you could just play in a normal Cold War vehicle that's higher tier. And of course, this is only available 20 times per day, so you'll be able to do it essentially 20 wins. So the majority of players will probably not exhaust this operation. So it's almost like you've kind of got 50% X silver for the continuation of the entire weekend. It does reset daily, so if you are grinding out the game really hard, playing more than 20 wins within one singular day, so you have to win for this to actually count, which makes it better because every single winning game you're going to be able to earn more silver, and typically when you win you're going to be earning even more silver. So yeah, definitely was something that I would be grinding towards using and taking it in. Now we move on to the part of the video that I kind of hate, and it is the tank trade-in event. For those of you that do not know what this is, it's essentially if you've got an old premium that's been sat in your garage for ages, you don't play it, or whatever the reason is, you can trade it in for 50% of the gold value. Now, yeah, that sounds amazing. Oh, I can get gold for trading in some of my tanks. Well, not quite. You have to trade in the actual tank, and you have to trade it in against another tank. So the gold value that you get back from that tank that you trade in is only used against another tank. So the problem with this, yes, sounds really good. You can get some gold back for some of the old premiums you have, but essentially you're paying full price for any of the tanks that you want to purchase within the game, whilst also losing a premium tank that you own and only getting a 50% discount on whatever you're purchasing. And if the tank that you're purchasing from the trade-in event is of greater value than the premium tank you're trading in, you're going to end up actually paying probably 60 or 70% of the value and then only getting a 30% discount. So it really is an event that I guess if you're happy to trade in a tier 8 for a tier 7 where you can almost do a flat trade and you don't have to pay any gold, then yeah, it's good. But if you're looking for the high price premium vehicles that are within all of these, then yeah, you're going to be paying a lot. Some of the key ones that I would actually note though, being the trade up list, which is all of the tanks that you can actually trade in. Basically, these are the tanks you can get. If you're going for a heavy tank, don't use the trade-in event to ever buy a heavy tank, because the price of them are obviously the highest out of all of the premium tanks, because they typically are in the region of 14,000 gold for a premium tier 8 heavy, obviously dependent on the tier. But most of the tanks that you probably own and can trade in are medium tanks. You know, if you're trading in a light tank, definitely don't do that. You can't trade in multiple tanks all at once, so it's only one vehicle per transaction. So don't go trying to, well, you can't trade them in, but don't go thinking, oh, that would be fantastic, I'll just get rid of a load of premium tanks and pay for tanks for free. No, they basically still need you to pay gold. So there's always that. I mean, it's a good event, I guess, if you are just wanting to downsize one of your premium tanks from a tier 8 to a tier 7 that you've been really wanting. For example, if you want the E25, could potentially be the one that you want to go for. Tier 7 tank destroyer, it's probably not going to be too expensive anyway, and maybe if you have a tier 8 heavy tank that you can trade in, then yeah, you may be able to get it for essentially free, or Wargaming actually give you gold back, dependent on the price of the tank that you're trading in and the price that it's going to refund you essentially. So there's always that. I think it's a good event for those of you with, I guess, the opportunity to trade in some of the tanks you don't use, or alternatively, yeah, get a little bit of a discount dependent on the vehicle that you're trading in. So definitely remember, it's about the tier of the vehicle that you're trading in, and also the tier and also the actual type of vehicle that you're trading it in for. If you're trying to buy a heavy, just don't. That's my recommendation. Of course, have your own opinions in the comment section down below and tell me whether I'm completely wrong and it's just all rubbish that I've just been chatting for the past couple of minutes. But there we go. Moving on, we have the special sale, obviously the January one for the T3488. We've already mentioned it in last week's update news where, yeah, it's a pretty decent deal. If you're going to spend $9.99, it's a good one. Do I recommend everyone has to do this? No, but the T3488 is one of the most broken tier 6 tanks in the game, so make of that what you will. Obviously then we have the Wargaming's terrible weekly sales as they've now become known. There's basically never anything worth buying on here. You've got ×3 vehicle XPs, 20 of them for 840 gold, which is probably one of the best price I've ever seen XP boosters on. So you could potentially do that if you're wanting to grind down some tank lines. So yeah, make of that what you will. Then we have the Yeomanry, which are the Sherman VC Firefly, which is the Canadian version, and the Sherman Grizzly, both Canadian ones, and 3.45 thousand gold. It's not particularly something I would spend my money on, but then again, it's up to you. Both of them are pretty mediocre medium tanks. The Firefly, probably slightly better, can be competitive in some regards, but it's certainly no Hellcat 105. Obviously, the Spot of Tea is the next one, where you can purchase the utterly useless Senlac light tank at tier 8 and the Cromwell B, which is probably one of my most favoured medium tanks at tier 6. It's just really, really fun, but 6,500 gold, just don't purchase it and buy the Cromwell if it ever comes on sale, or alternatively just buy the Cromwell outright because it will be cheaper than 6,500, and the Senlac is terrible within World of Tanks console. Obviously then we have the Ambushing Duo, which comes in the form of the most broken tank destroyer probably in the game ever, which is the Hellcat 105. Yes, a 105mm with about 8-second reload to do 320 damage, that then gets premium rounds that actually deal both more penetration and more damage. Yeah, this is just unbelievable. And then of course the Diamondback. So make of the discount what you will, but 8,400 gold is what it will cost you if you want both of these tanks. Obviously then we have the super savings, which are the 50% discount. You've got the Talon T44 122, which is mediocre / pretty bad, and then we have the Vizilla KV4K. So I guess if you're a meme and you actually want to punish yourself, then you could purchase the Vizilla KV4K. Yeah, it's supposed to be a side-scraping, rear-mounted turret Russian KV4, but yeah, it doesn't work whatsoever because the amount of situations where you can actually side-scrape, not very many, and the trade-off that you actually do to be able to side-scrape is awful. You literally lose pretty much everything from the vehicle. Although it did get a sizable buff, it's still not competitive within the game, and I don't think it ever will be, just from the pure theoretical side of the tank being the way it is. Obviously then we have basically the reminders for this season. We have the British invasion season from the 7th of December to the 8th of Feb, so you've still got a couple of weeks, well 4 weeks total to be able to complete this, and I'm sure many of you have already completed it already, as I have. Daily play challenge is still going on until the 15th of February, where you can earn gold, I believe. You also have the chance of key cards and stuff, but they are very rare. Don't expect them at all. Tanksmas key cards. Wargaming apparently forgot that that Christmas only lasts until the 25th. And on the 25th, apparently it's until the 18th of January that you can pick up Tanksmas key cards. So there we go. And then we have the on-track event for the Soviet Union. So make there's much of the advantages that you get with this, having 25% XP bonus on every World War II Soviet Tech Tree tank, 50% discount between tiers 3 and 6, and 30% discount between tiers 7 and 10. So make of that definitely something that I'm going to be advancing with the silver event, and then buying all of the Soviet tanks that I actually want to buy in the game. We of course then have Mastery of the Hunt, which gives you the operation where you can get a load of silver. Definitely something that's been rumored ruining the matchmaker, and Wargaming, of course, keep doing this with the events that they release when they put tank-specific things where you've got light tanks, combine that with the operations that you have to complete for the contracts. It becomes really, really just a YOLO fest, hence the most recent heavy light tank video that I completed, where we would basically just rampaging against all of the other light tanks in the T-54 lightweight, ramming them for full health and stuff like that. So yeah, really, really fun. Long haul, obviously, get as many of these done as possible to get some extra gold in your account. And that is pretty much it in terms of the news. Let's take a look at the premium tank now before we leave. So let's take a look at the brand new premium tank here on World Attack. Oh wait, no, sorry, wrong tank. This is the brand new premium tank. Brand new, yeah, the new version of the same tank that's already in the game. Of course, Wargaming introducing the Centennial for the third time and trying to profit off it. What in earth are they trying to actually accomplish here? It's literally the exact same tank that you will be able to purchase on the game. Of course, if we have a look at the price of the tank as well, if you want to purchase it right now, 11,900 gold. It's never worth it in the game, although it is quite a fun one. I've enjoyed playing the Centennial. It's a good one on Cold War as a heavy tank within the post-war, but yeah, something I wouldn't recommend purchasing for the amount of gold that it's actually going to cost you. I'd rather play things like the FE4211, which is the season pass reward. Key things about the tank: essentially you've got pretty decent view range for a heavy tank. You've got fairly decent mobility, but the DPM of the tank and the accuracy of the tank make it all that much better against a lot of the heavy tanks in this tier at this era even. And so yeah, I think it is a really competitive heavy tank, but it's probably not worth your money. And if you've already got the Centennial, don't be fooled by Wargaming's new tank mentality when it is literally just a repeat of the same tank that we've had in the game for about 5 years now. Yeah, it's just the Centennial as it previously was. Obviously, the Centennial version, of course, being the Centennial, gets actual spaced armor in the form of the sandbags, whereas the new version is actually just flat out worse because it doesn't get any of the spaced armor that the Centennial gets. So don't know whether they've given it any kind of other additional bonuses, considering it's lost the fact that you don't have spaced armor on it. Don't know entirely, but obviously here are the in-game stats that you can pause the video and have a look at. Let me know what you think of this tank. I really enjoyed it when it was in the game, and you can find a review of this tank in the form of the Centennial on the channel previously. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it kept you informed and where to spend your money within World of Tanks console. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. Check out these gameplay videos if you want to see those, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.